This is a continuation of a YouTube teaching, and I know many of you have been following my last teachings on YouTube, teachings on warrior seed syllable, and I have received a lot of wonderful feedback from many people, and I'm very happy to hear that, and that I decided to do more. So as it's continuously benefiting many people, and this is clearly seems like a wonderful a tool. Media is this wonderful tool, the technology is a wonderful tool to break the boundaries of many boundaries to able to do this, so that not me that I have to go to many people or the people have to come to me. This still is possible to communicate some teachings, so I'm very happy to do this. And so those who have been watching it and kind of really seriously trying to follow practice, and I'm very happy you're doing that. But I also, if this is very meaningful to you, then I'm going to ask you if you can also let a lot of other people know, basically take little initiative to put together a bunch of the addresses together and inform other people who might be benefit, that friends of yours and so on. So that will be, I'm requesting, especially those you feel it's a very beneficial things for you, and so we can, that this is how we can share with more people. And this is, I will feel wonderful as I'm putting my effort and energy to do this, and also all my students who's giving me support to do this. In the Burn Buddhist tradition, the goal of our life is to achieve a full liberation, or the Buddhahood. And the Buddha nature is in every sentient beings, not only human beings, but every insects and any animals. We all have the same Buddha nature, and our life is, the meaning of this life, important part of the meaning of this life is to achieve that. So Dharma, there are three principal pathways. One, it's called a path of renunciation, that basically you renounce your negativities, your negative emotions, negative thoughts, whenever they are coming, so that you learn to control and renounce. That is more like a part of the sutra. The second part is the path of transformation, a part of the tantra. Basically, it does not necessarily renounce the things and renounce the five poisons and ignorance, but it's trying to work with five poisons and transform those energy into a five wisdom. So basically, it's the path of transformation. And finally, the path of liberation is the path of Dzogchen, which is very much like not renouncing your five poisons or your negative emotions, or not trying to work and transform and changing negative emotions, rather leaving them as they are, where they are, and not following them, not elaborating them, just living as it is. And when you leave these negative emotions as it is, they do not have their own power to continue. What happens is they just liberate by themselves. It's called self-liberation. It's like the metaphor is like an example of a poison, a plant poison. The ordinary person can not use it. If you eat it, you will die. Therefore, only thing you do is you're trying to renounce. You're trying to throw away. Put it away somewhere the children cannot touch, nobody can touch. That's the path of renunciation. Or doctors who have a skill and a knowledge to transform them. So a doctor adds some other medicinal plants and transform that poison into a medicine and heals the sickness. So that is like a part of Tantra and part of transformation. And the peacock eats the poison. And when peacock does not need to renounce it or trying to change and transform it, peacock eats it as it is. And what poison does to peacock, it enhances the beauty and the color of the peacock's life. So that is like the approach of the Dzogchen. So these are the three principal methods of a path to liberation. They all are important, equally important. So first part of the practice of Dawa Gjaltsena, the fivefold teachings of Dawa Gjaltsena, is the vision is a mind. So what is the vision? Vision is something that we have in our mind, in our head. For example, the vision of fear. A vision of 5 negative emotions which is related to the fear. The pains which are caused by these 5 poisons and which is primarily caused by fear. They all are our inner visions. And we have these experiences because of many reasons. Because we have a foundation, something called like a conceptual karmic body, or we can sometimes look at that aspect of that as a pain body. So conceptual karmic body creates a conceptual pain body, and this conceptual karmic body, it's not only individual, but sometimes it can be a collective. We have a conceptual karmic body, a collective with our family members. So we have a pain body, a collective pain body with our family members. We have a collective pain body with the country that we are part of. So we share this collectively or individually. So because of this, sometimes all our fears are also not necessarily, it's only part of yourself. It's part of a bigger collective situations. So if you look at either it's a collective one or individual one, let's look at that vision. Look at closely. At this very moment, my fear, my negative emotions, 5 poisons related to that fear, my pain and confusions related to that fear, my situations that are causing some pains to other people, which is also related to my inner fear. You can see many layers of your fear right now, this very moment. I'm not talking about the past. I'm not talking about the future. I'm talking about this very moment in your life. So this is like inner vision. So if sometime if you look at it closely, there's nothing. This very moment you can be happy as you can be. You can be enthusiastic as you can be. You can be energetic as much as possible. But somehow your conditions, your habit, you choose to awake that fear, you choose to dwell into that fear, and you choose to suffer through that fear. But we have to change that by knowing this is what happening to us, and this is what we are contributing to this to happen. So with the first part of the practice, just you sit in a comfortable position, you close your eye, you look at that vision. Just say, vision is a mind. Just look at those images. Vision is a mind. My vision of my fear is just my mind. My mind is creating these visions. So what you do, you can just say a few times, just to remind yourself, and then you internally look closer to it, closer, closer, closer. As if you're looking at the flower, you're looking closer, you're looking closer, you're looking closer. So with the sense, you're looking closer. Internally, with the non-conceptual awareness, you're looking at closer, 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 closer. So when you look closer like this, what happens is those vision just dissipates like clouds dissipating in the sky. These clouds are dissipating because a powerful, subtle wind of your awareness is blowing it away. Therefore, those visions are clearing. And you don't see anything. At some point, you just don't see it. All these objects, these stories, just disappears. And then what is left? Simply the mind who is trying to find it, trying to watch where they are. It's only that mind is left, that awareness is just left. So there's nothing as an object to find, but the subject is just left without its object. Then that's what it means. Vision is a mind. I'm not finding what I'm looking for, rather I'm just finding who is looking at it. In this experience, what happens? You just feel like 40-50% of the fear, piece of your fear is just kind of dissolved. All the object and story related with that fear has just kind of diminished, dissolved. Your body, your spirit, your mind, your breathing, everything just became much lighter. And what do? You just rest in that lightness of the mind. Do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, depends on your ability to sit in the awareness. But if you are used to sitting in awareness, sit longer. But if you are not used to sitting in awareness, sit short but clear. There are many practitioners who sit long and unclear. It's better to sit short and clear. So even if it's a 5 minute, and that is a great beginning for you to develop. So what you can do is just simply repeat this exercise and find that a lightness and sit there as long as you can and repeat this again and again and again. So that is the first part of the practice. So the second part of the fivefold teaching of Dawy Gjaltsena, its mind is empty. So basically the second line is called mind is empty. So basically that is the answer of question, what is the mind? Because first part was vision is a mind, then we found that vision is a mind. There's nothing solid vision there out there. But next question is, what is a mind? So therefore the answer is mind is empty. So that is simply an intellectual question, an intellectual answer. But that, how does that question applies to myself in our life? How does that answer make sense in experience, on an experiential level, to oneself, so that it becomes a foundation or cause for next development? So that is important to be aware of, to know. So as an exercise, as a practice of this will be, of course, there's no way to do the second part of the practice unless you did the first part of the practice. So those you haven't done, strongly recommend to do the first part. Now, if you have done the first part already, which is saying, so vision of pain, vision of negative emotions, vision of fear, having that inner vision, saying what is that? Just clearly you realize nothing is solid there, out there, it's just my mind. Now, specifically this moment, when you realize that, you ask this, what is my mind? Where is my mind? Where it's coming from? Where it's staying? Where it's going? Does it have a specific color, shape, location, any consistency? Just ask this question. But not so much intellectual asking question, just internally look as a senses observe, not thought analysis. As senses observe. Look with your awareness, non-conceptual awareness, look at it. Where is my mind? Where it's coming from? Where it's staying? Where it's going? Just you look internally, look closer, 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 and it happens the same thing. That fear, that pain, that the ego, dissipates. One after another, they all just dissipates again, same way as before, like a cloud dissipating, dissolving in a sky. Why these clouds are dissolving in the sky? Because here the subtle wind of your inner awareness is blowing toward that ego, toward that fear, toward that pain. And because of that wind, these inner clouds of ego and pain are dissipating in inner vast sky. Gradually, slowly they dissipate. And what do you find? You find another big discovery of opening, a new dimension, openness. You experience internally. What do you feel? You feel just so much like a release, freedom, a peace, a possibility in that space. Only way it's going to happen when you learn how to directly observe. In another word, how to non-conceptually observe without thoughts. Very much like how senses observe. This case, you're observing the mind, not the vision. In the second practice, you're observing a mind, not the vision. In the first practice, you're observing the vision, not the mind. You observe, 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 it dissipates. Now, then it really feels like a complete, like 100% opening, because the first practice when you did, it feels like the vision of fear has dissolved. Second observation, second part of the practice, it feels like the fear itself has dissolved. The pain itself has dissolved. So, ability to do that again and again, so you feel the full experience of openness. And what do you do in that moment? Same as before, you rest in that inner openness, that inner vastness, without elaborating anything, without analyzing, without judging it, just simply rest in that inner vastness where you're feeling some sense of peace without your fear and pain. And it's not just a fear or pain, the fear and pain that you are having this particular moment in your life. And this is the medicine for that pain and that fear. This will not only help you to heal your own fear and pain, it will also help you to heal collective pain and collective fears that we share with our family members, that we share with our fellow friends, and then also in a sense of country or global sense of collective fear that we have. It will help. For sure, immediate people that you are very, very emotionally very tied to, it will help them too. Because any moment when you feel openness, it affecting all the others who are related to you. So the second part of the practice is very much, question is, what is the mind? And experiencing that mind is empty. So any given moment, mind is always clear. So just think about this for the last thing. No matter how painful you are, no matter how fearful you are, no matter how confusion you feel, just realize any given moment, if you look directly to your mind, those clouds will dissolve and you will find your inner peace, inner opening. Any given moment, they are always there, and you have the door. You just have to look the right direction in the right way. So the third part of the teaching of Dawy Gjaltsena is emptiness, it's clear light. So because the first was vision is a mind, then second part was mind is empty, now emptiness is clear light. That is like an answer. Question is, what is emptiness? In our experience of this practice, we were looking at the fear, all the visions and suffering of the fear, and when we look close to that, we did not find anything as an object. Then we look at the subject, what is a mind? And we couldn't find anything, a solid, inherent existence of mind either. Mind was simply empty. Then what is empty? Emptiness. So this is the search that we have wanted to do. So in your experience, not finding anything of your fear either externally or internally, not finding that fear, ego, and it just, as you look closer and closer inward, it just completely dissolves and it just becomes nothing. Just basically you don't find nothing. 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 What does that mean? Does that mean nothing is there? As you experience, there's nothing? You don't find anything? You don't see anything? What does that mean? Is it nothing? No. And that is exactly the reason why the third question is very important. Because many times, either philosophically, there are many tenets and doctrines fell into that nihilist view. There are many practitioners in experiences fell into that denial. Basically, there's some point when they're searching, they don't see nothing, say, okay, there's nothing. And they go also again the same way into a nothingness very deep. And that nothingness can also cause a depression, a rigidity, like a military stiffness in your body, in your breath, in your behavior. That is a very important question. That's why we ask, what is that emptiness? So emptiness, it's clear light. That emptiness is the fullness. That emptiness is the source of all the qualities. That emptiness, that openness is the solution. That openness is like the mother who gives the birth to child. That space is like the earth which grows all the vegetations. That space is like the sky where all the stars and planets exist. The only way they can exist to know to its potentiality, in its luminosity, in its energy, dynamic energy aspect of it. And that translates into very simple translation in our own this moment experience is just our awakening quality, awakeness. Not nothingness, awakeness. Being aware of it. So in the practice, when you're looking into that, you're looking for your mind, you don't find anything. That is the place where we left our last practice. I don't find nothing. There's no ego. There's no me. There's no my mind that I can pinpoint down in one place. Just became like a space. Being aware of that. Look at that awareness. Feel that awareness of that. That awareness is like a sunshine. If there is no cloud in the sky, you look through that clear sky in the sun. Then you see the luminosity of sunshine. The absence of cloud helps to see the sky. A presence of sky helps to see the luminosity of the sun. The absence of fear as a vision, fear as a subject, helps to see our openness, inner openness. The presence of inner openness helps us to see our awareness, like inner luminosity. Can you see it? Can you feel it? So, it's not just nothing, it's just a full awakening, full sunshine. Just be in that alertness, liveliness. Connect with that. So, the more you connect with that awareness, the less chance you will have falling into nihilist in denial. If you look at many times people doing sitting practices, I have visited some places with groups, they're doing sitting practice, and I can see they're sitting quite a good position in the first moment. And after 10 minutes later, they all are doing this position. What is that? That is a not awareness. That is clearly a yoga of the sleeping position. They are following sleep. And they think they are resting in the nature of mind or sitting in the emptiness, which they are not. Why? Maybe in the beginning they had experience of emptiness, and then lack of their clarity, they fall into dullness, and then the dullness put them into a deep sleep. There is no awakening. They are not even able to keep their head straight. That is a sign of lack of awareness. So it's very important to not only have the experiences of voidness in the third practice, to be aware of that voidness, to be in that state of awareness and continuously become familiar with that awareness. Part 4, the practice of Dawy Gjaltsena, which is, we started with vision is a mind is empty, emptiness is clear light is union, and part 4 is, so that clear light is union. That is like an answer, but the question is, what is clear light? And in our experience was working with the fear and the pains and emotions related with the fear. We looked at the object of the fear. We couldn't find anything. That is our vision. So we just realized it's just the mind is only left. Part 1 and part 2, we look at what is the mind. We look at it closely. We couldn't find anything with the mind. Mind is just empty. And part 3, we look at, so what is then emptiness? Well, emptiness is not just emptiness, it's not just nothing, it's just a full alive awareness. Emptiness is clear light. And then part 4, what is that clear light? The answer is clear light is union. So if you look at this line, clear light is union, so there's a 2 word, clear and light. Clear referring to emptiness, openness. Light referring to awareness, luminosity. And these 2 are not a separate quality, neither they are 2 separate experience. It's just one experience. It's like a wisdom, single wisdom, a single sphere of totality. And it's very important to understand that, because many times in our experiences, either you fall into nihilist or you fall into eternalist, as many doctrines do that, as many meditator, when you practice, you do that. I give a simple example. If you are meditating, abiding in the nature of mind, abiding in that inner space, there's two possible obstacles can happen. One, you fall into nihilist. What does that mean? That means you feel empty, and that emptiness produces dullness, it produces a lack of life force, awareness, and it puts you into sleep. That's one possible. So that's like you're falling into nihilist. Or the other possibility is, the moment you sit in the nature of mind, the moment you sit in a meditation of emptiness, you become most creative individual. All the work comes up, your creativity comes up, your thoughts comes up, all the emotions comes up. Just basically mind becomes active than before. Why? When you're supposed to rest, why mind becomes so active? Simply because it does not have the experiences of that space. It does not have connection to that base. It does not have that connection to that mother, inner essence. Therefore, it is facing with all these uninvited thoughts and emotions. That is simply happens all the time in our experience. So therefore, that is exactly the reason why it says clear light is union. Clear light is union. So not only philosophically they are union or inseparable, but experientially that is how one should experience. So in these stages of development of our practices with the fivefold teaching of Dawy Gjaltsena, we arrive fourth stage of experience, where when we sit in that inner space, we need to have a complete balance of that openness and awareness, of that emptiness and that clarity. So inseparable state of that emptiness and clarity, it's very important. So very briefly, when you're looking objects of your fear, the visions, you don't see anything. Then you look at who is looking, you look at the subject of ego, you don't find anything. Then you look who is observing, there's nothing either. So you experience a full spaciousness internally. There's full spaciousness. And you are fully aware of that. And that awareness is no different from that openness. That openness is not different from that awareness. There is no separation. It's inseparable state. And you rest in that inseparable state without elaborating, without analyzing, judging, anything. Just simply you rest in that inseparable state of openness and awareness. Whenever visions are coming, you work with this, like part one's practice, you watch the vision. Whenever the subject is kind of taking it over, you ask with the part two practice, what is the mind? And then mind will dissolve, then the object will dissolve, and it will bring you back into that same open awareness, inseparable state of that openness and awareness. Just simply rest in there. As I said earlier, rest for 5 minutes. If you're used to sitting in a practice for a longer time, rest for half an hour, 1 hour. But always remember that sitting short and clear, it's better than sitting long and dull. And it's important to become familiar with that clear state. Because imagine in our ordinary life how much time we dwell into that stories of fear, that emotions of fear. How many hours? Consciously, unconsciously, times when we are aware of it, times when we are not even aware of it, but we're still able to dwell into it. So ability to change habit from that place to resting in that pure, inseparable state of openness and awareness, it will require some time and familiarity. So anyway, the bottom line here is just simply trying to rest in that inseparable state of openness and awareness as clear and as long as you can, and repeat that and trying to become more familiar with that as much as possible. So this is our last part, the fivefold teachings of Dawy Gjaltsena. The line is, the union is great bliss. And if you look at it in our life, in every day in our life, it makes good sense. Anytime when we are able to connect, it makes us feel good. When you're able to connect with yourself, it makes you feel good. When you're able to connect with somebody, it makes somebody else feels good, and it makes you feel good. People have a relationship. One of the main point about relationship is trying to make connection on a physical level, on an emotional level, on a spiritual level. Anytime, whatever level of connection that you are able to make, it makes you feel good. The deeper connection you are able to make, the better feelings are. Less dependent on outer circumstances is. So, like many times, that's very true. If you're in a relationship, if you are able to only a physical relationship, it's one thing. In a spiritual relationship, more heart relationship, it's another experience. So connections are a fundamental in human life. Children cannot properly grow unless there is a connection of emotion with the parents, particularly connection of love. So in the same way, union is great bliss. The union is about the connection. So with connection, or through the connection, arises a lot of experiences. Beautiful experiences. So the connection between the openness and awareness, when that connection is awakened, when that connection is familiar, that connection is absolutely balanced, then quality arises. Otherwise, you can think about, well, I can rest in emptiness, what it's going to do to me? How I'm going to be happy just resting in emptiness? Well, just resting in emptiness might not make you feel happy, But if you're resting in an inseparable state of emptiness in a clear light, it will make you happy. For example, the example will be when you feel nothing in your life. People feel lost, unacknowledged, unwanted, rejections, isolations. When you feel like that, what are you feeling? You're feeling disconnected. You're feeling disconnected with your family. You're feeling disconnected with your colleagues. You're feeling disconnected with your friends. And you're isolating yourself. And when that disconnection, when you become familiar with that disconnection, and when you dwell into it, that's where you begin to feel pain and depression. In contrary, when you feel connection to that inner openness, connection to the inner light, and become familiar with that inseparable state, it will give the birth to hope. It will give the birth to 4 immeasurables, 10 prajna paramitas. It will give the birth to all the countless enlightened qualities. So, in our own little experiences of meditation in these 5 parts, remember, we go back to the first part. We have been working with the fear. You didn't find the object of fear. You didn't find the subject of the fear. You found an openness. You found a light inside yourself. You became more familiar with that openness and light. And you continuously rest in that union, that connection. What will manifest from that place? Hope will manifest, because you have been working with the fear. You will manifest joy related to that hope, because you have been working with the pains related with that fear. It will naturally come. You just simply have to trust. And the reason why I'm saying trust, because these practices, something that you have never heard of, you have never done in your life, and you just have to trust a little bit before you have the experience. And once you have the experiences, you trust the experience itself. You don't have to trust or rely on anybody else's explanation. So simply, I think it's important here to trust in that experience and rest in that experience. Again, experience of inseparable state of openness and awareness as much as possible, and gradually allow, this is the word here, not make, allow the hope, allow the joy, allow your inner qualities, because you are ready to give a birth, you are ready to transform, or you are ready to change, because you have enough familiarity in that space of union, of openness and awareness, and the bliss will come from that place. So the example of union is great bliss. It's like a vast clear sky and a luminous and warm sunshine. The union of that luminous and warm sunshine and the vast sky, it gives a birth to a lot of elements. The earth, the water, the fire, all the natural elements come to exist. And from this natural element, then imagine like a fruit trees. And imagine that clear sky, the warmth of sun hitting to that tree, hitting to those fruits, and gradually, because of that clear sky, because of warmth of the sun, it ripens those fruits, and then the fruit is the bliss for those who needs it. So that is kind of the example of it. So the joy, inner joy, is the fruit which has ripened with the warmth of awareness in that vast sky.